helps us to understand our past, and it provides us an insight into the boundaries of our society. And also, it gives us a clear perspective of what really happened in the past. A pleasant day to each and every one of you. I'm Mr. Limpin, the Speaker of this Council. And I am more than glad and honored to welcome you to this year's History Summit 2019, a Parliamentary Debate. Today, we are about to witness a discourse between two parties about the controversy that paves the way to the birth of Christianity here in our country. And it is the site of the first Mass in the Philippines. Is it in Limasawa or Butuan? The motion says Limasawa as the site of the first Mass here in the country. Seated on the right portion of this hall is the proposition in favor of Limasawa. And seated on the left portion of this hall is the opposition in favor of Limasawa. Before we start this debate, let me read to you the rules and standard of behaviors for this debate. Number 1, this debate will be presided over by the Speaker of the House. Second, courtesy must be shown to all members at all times. Third, members will speak only when called upon by the Speaker. Fourth, debater and the judge can penalize who interrupts another thoughtlessly and excessively. Fifth, each debater will be given 1.5 minutes to deliver his or her argument and rebuttals. And lastly, during rebuttals, members may not bring up any new arguments or new evidences except in direct refutation of material which has already been presented. To formally start this debate, I am now giving the floor to Ms. Jill Anse, the first arguer of the proposition.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I would like to start this discourse by stating that we firmly believe that the site of the first Catholic Mass in the country was in southern Leyte. This claim of ours is based on the primary sources, accounts, and corroboration of statements provided by some reliable historical personalities such as Jaime de Vera, who stated that the first Mass was celebrated in Limasawa, not in Butuan. Historian Pablo Pastel, who claimed that Ferdinand Magellan didn't go to Butuan, instead he went to Limasawa. James Robertson, who agreed with Pastel in a footnote that Masao was actually Limasawa. Father Bernard, who studied Pigafetta's maps and found out that Masao is located in the southern tip of large island of Leyte, which strengthens the claim that it is in Masawa, and most especially the eyewitness account of Francisco Albo and Antonio Pigafetta. Therefore, we are affirming the motion of this council that Limasawa is the site of the first Mass through these initial evidences. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Jose, our first affirmative speaker. And may we now call on Ms. Lorraine Marcella to deliver her statement for the opposition.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Based on her argument, yes, there may be a lot of personalities with unified thoughts and interpretation about the said matter. But notice and observe that all the primary sources, including Antonio Pigafetta, Magellan's chronicler, noted the name of the place where the first Mass in the Philippines happened was in Mazawa. It is evident that Masao is approximately similar with the word Mazawa, while Limasawa has 4 syllables and starts with a letter that does not belong in the word Mazawa. Also, according to Antonio Pigafetta, the distance to Cebu from Mazawa was 140 miles, a measurement that is relatively similar with the distance from Masao Butuan to Cebu, while the distance from Limasawa southern Leyte to Cebu is 80 miles only. So, we attest the strength of these initial evidences in opposing the motion of this Honorable Council. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Marcella. And now may we call on Ms. Dimple Liabres to deliver the second argument for the proposition.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I disagree with the claims of the first opposition. According to what she said, the word Masao is quite similar to the word Mazawa, but it doesn't mean that the first Mass happened in Masao. Meanwhile, according to Albo and Pigafetta's account, Magellan's expedition entered Philippine south of island of Samar and dropped anchor at Humanhon. Then they sailed to the west towards Leyte, then to south to the eastern shore called Mazawa or Limasawa. There they stayed a week during Easter Sunday. They celebrated Mass and planted the cross on the summit of the highest hill. Thank you.
Thank you for the rebuttals and counter-argument, Ms. Liabres. And now, may we call on Mr. Rafael Marbella to deliver the second argument for the opposition.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I disagree that their expedition entered the island of Humunhun. Based on the primary sources gathered, the Western explorers wanted to gain abundance of gold in Masawa. As of today, the Agusan Valley is rich in gold, and on the other hand, Limasawa has not yet found if they have abundance in gold and relics. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Marbella, for your rebuttals and counter-argument. And now, may we call on Mr. Andrei Guban to deliver their third argument for the proposition.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I disagree with the claims of the opposition. Our claims was based on the original Ambrosian text of Pigafetta. I would like to point out that based on Father Collins' account, his men went to Cebu on April 7, 1521. But in the monument's inscription, the first Mass was held on April 8, 1521 on Butuan. How is it possible to go back from Cebu for just one day? Wherein Butuan is 236 kilometers away from Cebu, and the ships that time are not fast enough. In addition, on that same day, a cross was erected on the summit of a mountain, and according to Francisco Albo, on the summit of the mountain, you can see three islands from west and southwest, but Butuan is located on the northern direction. The topographical details given by Albo in Pigafetta suits the present Limasawa. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Guban, for your last rebuttals and counter-argument for the proposition. And now, may we call on Mr. James Lantin to deliver their last argument for the opposition.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I disagree with the argument presented by the third proposition speaker. I claim that this Masawa is in Butuan. As a proof, in Historia de Mindanao, a holo written by Francisco Combes, who worked as a missionary in the Philippines, he stated that Magellan went to Butuan because the king heard that there was more powerful and they wanted to meet him. It was said that their expectation was satisfied by the king. And there, they planted a cross on a hill in a solemn ceremony as a sign of future alliance in Francisco Collins' birth. The first Mass occurred the same day they planted the cross. For that reason, we believe that the first Mass occurred in Butuan. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lantin, for your rebuttals and counter-argument. And now, we have finally heard the arguments of the both parties. The one in favor of Limasawa and the one in favor of Masawa. Let's now have the final words, judgment, and decision of our very own judge, Ms. Rhezee Oliver.
First of all, I am commending the two parties for bestowing to us their sentiments and well-researched arguments. We are delighted on your participation in this healthy and informative discourse. It is an arduous task for me to decide which among the two sides is really site of the first Catholic Mass here in the country, as it takes time for me and for us to decide because there are a lot of historical evidences regarding this controversy that needs to be verified. Both have conveyed and manifested bold points. I would adhere to the order of this council to choose whose evidences, sources, and arguments are more valid, reliable, and credible. To this debate, I am taking the side of proposition for demonstrating and sharing their arguments based on the accounts of Antonio Pigafetta and Francisco Albo, who were both an eyewitness and who have provided us a well-detailed and reliable information about what really happened way back in the birth of Christianity here in our country. The evidences presented are very strong, and it's backed up with facts. Also, they have presented a corroboration and agreement between the statements of various historical personalities and experts. While on the other hand, the opposition have presented their arguments satisfactorily. However, there is an evident inconsistency with the statements of the debaters and most of the acquired sources based on the secondary points. Rather, this debate serves as a way for us to gradually determine and know what really happened in the past. Thank you and God bless.
Again, this is History Summit 2019, a Parliamentary Debate. This event is now adjourned.